She doesn't even go here.
I'm bi, actually.
Excuse me. Could the ugly, untalented gays please report to the principal's office?
Hi, I'm Kurt Homo, and I'll be auditioning for the role of kicker.
Hello! Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for watching today's episode of Not So Straight Nerds. I'm your host, Luke.
And I'm your host, Alicia.
And today, we are going to be rewinding it back a little, and we are going to be talking Phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
Now, we have already done an episode on MCU Phase 1. You can go and watch that right now if you so please. But this is going to be talking about the MCU movies. What's the order? I think it's Iron Man 3 through Ant-Man.
Yeah, that sounds right.
2013 through 2015. So it's there's some great highs here, but I think people forget that this was a little bit of a maybe rut for the MCU.
Yeah.
And I think when people kind of take off the rose-tinted glasses of looking back on original Marvel movies.
Yeah, they look back on this era for like the Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's all they remember. And I'm like, but we also got Thor: The Dark World, so like, don't forget that.
Yeah. So there's a lot to go over here.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna kind of talk about general stuff, break things down a little bit more specific. Throughout this, we will be talking spoilers on these movies, maybe hinting towards some of the stuff beyond it. So we will be talking deep spoilers. You have been warned. You can go watch all of these right now. They're on Disney Plus, but you can watch them, you know, on digital or physical media if anyone still has those.
Yeah, you know, I think it actually would be pretty interesting when we get to like Phase 5 or 6 or whatever we're even in right now. If we have a discussion over like almost like percentages of each phase, like if we can somehow do the math on like which projects we think are good, okay, and bad, and then I feel like it might surprise us because I feel like Phase 4 got a lot of people in an interesting way, because for some people they just hated on good projects, so they're just crazy, but I also think there were some bad projects, surely, but I feel like percentage-wise, it's probably one of the higher ones. I think for me, like not even really thinking of it.
At least Phase 4, like percentage-wise, is probably comparable to Phase 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I think Phase 3 was just such a swing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was such a time for them, but it took a lot of build-up that had some hits and misses. So something to be said there. We'll see. Before that.
Yeah, before we get too deep into our actual conversation, vibe check. How are the vibes, Alicia?
I feel good. We haven't filmed in a hot minute. Yeah, I feel like January we knew it was going to be a slow month. It kind of is, but we're filling it in some fun places. It's not really slow for us. It's not like we're struggling to find things to watch in that way. Just more so like new things, I would say. We had some releases this weekend. I thought the only one I even remotely want to do one on is the people we meet on vacation. Maybe if we have time, we can squeeze that in somewhere. Maybe like Bone Temple. I don't know. Anyways, we'll talk about it a little bit at some point. Obviously, we're watching The Pit. We just started The Traitors season 4, which is very fun. Yeah, we're filling it with some fun stuff. I'm getting them to watch The Vampire Diaries, which they're oh so excited about. I feel like you were gagged at this season finale, though. So
every now and then it hits like television.
Yeah. So yeah, we're kind of taking this opportunity to more so I feel like catch up on things that we've been wanting to watch, or somebody has been wanting to watch. So yeah, it's been an interesting month. We'll talk about it later in our like recap thing.
Absolutely.
Anyways. What about you?
Yeah. January do be doing January things right now. I am excited that TV is stepping up. I think as I'm finding it has been in January, which is exciting. Mm-hmm. We typically have, this is going to be the second year in a row we've had The Pit. I think even before that we had Ginny and Georgia hit. So there's always been something to watch on the small screen, which is a nice change of pace when movies are in such a wild place.
I wonder if maybe that's part of the reason, because I have zero idea why the Emmys are at such a different place than everything else. And their like eligibility period is way different than everybody else's. I wonder if maybe that's on purpose, partially to encourage more shows to come out when there is like a dip in movies. I don't know. If that is intentional, very smart. If it's not, it worked out really well. So, yeah.
Indeed.
But anyways.
Alrighty, going right into our Phase 2 conversation, we are going to start by ranking the 6 Phase 2 MCU films. So, for those who don't know, that is Iron Man 3, Thor the Dark World, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Age of Ultron, and Ant-Man. How similar do you think our lists are going to be?
I know one is going to be very different. I feel like the top two are probably going to be the same or very similar or flipped. The bottom one I think is going to be the same. The middle is what I'm unsure of. I think my middle three. I know at least one I'm going to have lower than you. I know. And I know exactly which one it is. It's fine. I'll defend my opinion on that movie till the day I die.
Okay.
So, okay.
Getting us started then, do you want to go first?
Sure. My number 6 is Thor the Dark World. I don't think this surprises anybody. A lot of people don't like this movie, and for good reason. I've watched this movie, I mean, not a lot, but I've watched it enough for me to not remember it, even if my memory is kind of wild. I've watched this at least 3 or 4 times, which is a lot for a movie I don't like. I've just done in the past binges on MCU movies. Yeah, and I really I could not tell you a whole lot that happens in this movie. I know some things, but it's kind of just like a fever dream, and not in a good way at all. So, sorry. I've never been a big fan of Thor though, so that also doesn't help. So it's like I hate it more because I don't care for him as a character. So, anyways. But in Doomsday, and this is out so we can talk about it officially, his teaser, he has short hair again, which I'm very excited for. I think that's his better look, even if it's maybe not the most comic accurate look.
I agree.
Anyways.
At number 6, I also have Thor the Dark World.
Yeah.
I think most people agree that this is the worst of the early MCU. And while I agree, I think I find this slightly more watchable than most. I actually really enjoy the visuals and the world building of Asgard in this one. It's like the only movie where you really get to spend a decent amount of time in that world and see how some of their stuff works, which I think is really interesting. It builds on the idea of the fine line with them between magic and science.
Yeah.
Which I think has been an interesting bit of Thor in his little circle. Some of the most forgettable villains ever. And I think also kind of the choices made with them were horrible in adaptation. Had Loki come back, which I think is kind of universally praised as the one great part of it. If there is one.
Yeah. I've always liked Loki. He's been fun.
Having him come back as not a direct antagonist, I think, is fun. And I think that's about it.
Yeah. I feel like I have a lot of time off in the summers, so I have been thinking about what I would want to kind of binge through this summer. I want to finish at some point, whether this semester or the summer, the Tom Cruise movies, but then I'm also feeling like I do kind of want to do a rewatch of the MCU movies, at least most of them, just leading up to Doomsday, since it's been so long since another Avengers movie. So perhaps I'll if I end up doing a binge, I will watch this one, because this is one of those that I don't remember well, and even though I don't remember liking it, I would want to rewatch. So just for that fact. So, anyways.
Alrighty, your number 5.
This is the one that I would be shocked is if it's also your number 5. But either way, I know you like this one more than me. It's Iron Man 3. I'm one of those odd one outs that actually likes Iron Man 2 better than Iron Man 3, which I think from what I've heard is an odd opinion. I don't know. I like parts of Iron Man 2, and I like some parts of Iron Man 3. I like Iron Man as a character, so it's hard to like hate a movie where he's the main character. I'm just not a huge fan of the villain or like the concept of what he's creating and doing. I think it's boring. I'm not a huge fan of how Pepper gets into that plot, even though I like Pepper. I don't know. This has just never been one of my favorites, so it's not horrible, but it's fine. It doesn't need my good opinion. It made $1 billion, so.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
My number 5 is also Iron Man 3.
Yes.
I do enjoy this one, I think, a little bit better than most. Ultimately, I'm glad that they ended up reusing the Mandarin later on in the proper way the Mandarin is meant to be portrayed.
That's so true.
Which I think
And they're gonna use him again in Wonder
retrospectively
Man.
uses him a lot better.
Yeah.
But I feel like the villain plotline is just very kind of complex, kind of needlessly so a little.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. I do really like that actor. I'm forgetting his name.
Sam
Adrian
Worthington.
Pierce.
No, is it not? No, Sam Worthington's in the second movie.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know his name. Sorry, in the third one.
Alexander Guy. Oh my God.
Guy Pearce? That's not Guy Pearce.
No, I need to look it up while you talk next. But
I don't even know.
I really like that actor. I think they are out of the suit for a lot in this one. Besides like maybe one or two really great suit moments in this.
It is Guy
film.
Pearce.
Yes, Guy Pearce.
But it's Killian is the villain
Aldrich.
name.
Okay,
yeah.
that's probably what I'm mixing up. And I'm pretty sure that this movie created that character from what I was seeing.
Oh.
Which was,
Maybe there's
a choice.
something there. Yeah, maybe there's something there.
Crazy subversion.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm right on that, but it definitely is like the most used he was ever if he wasn't original.
Okay.
So either way, it was a hot choice.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it is a choice to have Iron Man be out of his suit for so much of the movie. It does, I think, talk very interesting about identity. And I think I would say of the three, it's the most interesting in regards to the themes it's exploring.
Mm-hmm.
With identity and with his I am Iron Man. It's like, so what are you if you don't have the suit? How are you still Iron Man?
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed that. Even if ultimately I don't think it's as flashy or as exciting as everything else here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would also agree that my list from here on out, the fourth one up, I all enjoyed. Basically. My next one, number 4, is Ant-Man. I actually thought this movie was pretty fun. I feel like I tend to like at least the first one. I don't know. I feel like I don't hear a lot of people talk about the first one, so I don't know exactly where their head is at with it. The second one, I don't know. They haven't talked about a lot of them except for Quantumania, and we know how they talk about that one. So, yeah, but I feel like I've always liked him. I feel like this is probably when I started clocking Paul Rudd as an actor. I had seen Clueless at this point, and he's in that as well. But this is probably when I started like noticing him. And he's a very fun actor. I like a lot of his projects. So I just saw him in Friendship not too long ago. And then what is her name? Evangeline Lilly,
yeah.
That's Wasp, and Wasp is fun. Basically Ant-Man with wings. Yeah, but I like the whole family dynamic there. I think that's very interesting. I think it's interesting they introduce him as like a criminal. That's new and fun and fresh. And then he's fun in Civil War. So I don't know. I haven't seen this movie in a hot second, but I'm thinking about him as a character. He's fun. So, yeah.
My number 4 is also Ant-Man.
Okay then.
No, I think this is a very fun introduction. I would say thus far this is like trying to remember. No, Guardians I would say leads comedic first, but this is like
Oh,
after
yeah.
Guardians is the first
This
one that
is
I
very
think really
funny.
leans into being a comedy.
Yeah.
Which I think is fun. I think Paul Rudd is like the perfect person to lead that. And I love the visuals of this movie. They like it makes shrinking like seem like a really cool ability.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they work that really well actually.
Yeah.
Introducing the characters. What I ultimately love about kind of Ant-Man as a character outside of the superheroisms is that I love that this trilogy goes on to like portray blended families in such a positive light.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's such a trope to be like, oh, my dad and my stepdad don't get along, and that's gonna be the thing of the movie.
Yeah.
Like I understand them setting that up here, and I think they do that reasonably well here, showing a good reason
with
why
him and
that
Cassie
happens.
and yeah.
But then I like where we enter in the second movie, and it's on a very healthy place actually,
Yeah.
which I really like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, visuals, and I really like the idea of making this a heist movie.
Mm-hmm.
A heist movie in the MCU.
And his little
It's
friend
so
group
fun.
with the heist
Yes,
is very fun.
They're so funny.
So, yeah.
No,
I agree.
absolutely, very fun time.
My next one is Age of Ultron. It was kind of hard for these top 3. I mean, Age of Ultron definitely goes here for me versus the top 2, but I actually kind of love Age of Ultron. I understand why people say this is the odd one out. It very clearly is in terms of like Thanos has like nothing to do with this movie. So it had no connection, unlike the other 3 Avengers movies. He at least was partially involved, if not heavily involved. But I love Ultron as a character, so I can't really complain. I think he's great. Very, very interesting. We get Wanda in this movie, and I love her. She's like my favorite MCU character, so it's hard for me to like hate anything she's in. Quicksilver's fun too. It introduces a lot of concepts, though. Like it is still kind of connected to the Thanos
Because it has a lot of
plotline, the Infinity Stones. Mm-hmm. So it is still kind of connected, even if he never shows up. Yeah, and then they're working together now more than the core 6, so that's fun. I love so many shots in this movie. Their entire like fight scene in the beginning when they're all trying to break into the building is very fun. When obviously the big final fight, I think of when they're all surrounding the little
circle.
core. That's obviously so iconic for, rightfully so. I love all of Wanda's scenes. I love when she rips the heart out of Ultron, when she decides to come out and be an Avenger. That's very fun. I love her and Hawkeye's dynamic. I wish they continued that so bad. I do have to wonder if COVID didn't happen, if maybe we would have gotten that in WandaVision, but oh well. Yeah, there's just a lot to like about this movie. I feel, and then Falcon's in this movie too, helping them out. Rhodey's helping them out. There's a lot
Now,
of people
actually,
here.
interesting note: Falcon is not in this movie helping them out.
He's
He's just
not?
on the team at the end,
Oh.
but Rhodey shows up, and I
Oh, right.
and
in
I
the-
agree
yeah.
that I think that is total bullshit.
Yeah. I must be thinking of Winter Soldier, I guess.
Well, and
Yeah,
also
'cause he's in
Falcon
that
shows
movie.
up in Ant-Man.
Right. So he's just kind of everywhere except the big Avengers movie, which is kind of stupid. But anyways.
Wait, I'm jumbling you all over the place. He's in their party, but he never helps them fight. He's never suited up.
So he is in this movie, but no. Yeah, I'm probably thinking of the end as well when he's all there with everybody. That's a very fun scene too. It's like, oh,
Avengers!
they're family. Yes, that sets up for a very fun line delivery later, much later. Yeah, there's a lot to like about this movie. I honestly can't even fathom not liking this movie. I'll say it. It's still the odd one out, but like not that doesn't make it bad. Just stands out because it has a different villain. And that's okay. Anyways.
My number 3 is also Age of Ultron.
Cool.
I think we might have the same exact list.
Maybe. I don't know about the top 2.
Oh, I'm interested to see how that lands.
We'll see.
I think there's like one big reason that really kind of outsets this from the other ones, and I think that's how they handle Hulk and Natasha in this movie.
So true. I forgot about that. Mind wiped.
It's done pretty grossly, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever about like them having any romance, I think that's whatever. It's just done really badly.
No, but you reminded me of the scene in the penthouse when they fight him, and then also the hammer scene. They just seem like such a family in this one.
No,
and
that's what I do love
wish...
about this one. It's the only Avengers movie where you really get to see them as a team.
Yeah.
And I think that's so fun. I think it's a shame we don't get to see more of that. Whereas a lot of franchises that continue on, you like get to see the dynamic grow and change. Here, you only really get to see them when it's the big stuff happening that like completely breaks or makes the team. Which I think is a bit of a bummer, especially with how fun they are in this movie.
Because then you get Civil War and they're all fighting, and you're like, stop! You're all baddies. Stop fighting!
We only ever meet at really highs or lows. In either way, like, it's not a place where we can just explore dynamics.
No.
But it's really fun here, and I think it's why it still works for a lot of the people that still enjoy this movie. I think the cinematics, like the cinematography of this movie, I think is actually really good. I would argue it's better than the first one.
Oh yeah, I think people forget that the first one has some pretty wonky visuals there. Not like crazy, and definitely like it is of its time, so it's fine. But like, yeah, this one definitely improves.
I don't know. It feels so like vibrant with like its colors and its choices.
Yeah. Wanda's powers look so cool here. I almost wish we could get back to this. They seem so like tentacly, like I don't know. They just seem so like electric charges that could do any. They seem chaotic, which I feel like later they turn more into just like magic balls. I'm like, I mean, it's cool, but I kind of want to go back to like it goes around her hand and like all the fun stuff.
No, they have some fun aesthetic choices here, and then Ultron is a great villain. I love every like design through like his starting scene where he's just like the voice.
Yes.
Love
what a
that.
great choice. And also I was watching a show called The Blacklist where he's like one of the main characters in that show.
Ultron.
Yes. And so it was very fun for me to be like, I know that voice in the theater, and then I figured it out and it was great. I love it.
No, for sure. And then I think just some really fun fight scenes kind of all over the place, and some great character introductions. So, love. Yeah. What's next? Number 2.
My number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know. It was actually a little bit difficult to pick between 2 and 1, but I do think 1 is clear. I mean, I guess I'll go ahead and say my number 1 is Winter Soldier. I feel like it is hard to beat Winter Soldier, even though I do love the Guardians. If this was Guardians 3, I might actually say Guardians 3 is better than Winter Soldier. Anyways, but the first one, I feel like I'm not a crazy big fan of Ronan, but I love the main group. I adore the main group. Whereas the third Guardians, I love the main group and the villain. So some differences there, but it's very funny. Obviously they introduced them in a very fun way. James Gunn, you're amazing. And I just think it's so interesting every time I remember that this team is like not big in the comics, because I'm like, what do you mean they're so iconic?
It made them big in the comics.
Yeah. So that's just crazy to me. Again, props to James Gunn. So you do some fun stuff. I love the Guardians. They're so fun. Anytime they pop. Even the second one, which I feel like some people say is like not good. I actually like it. I think it's fun.
Oh,
I think it's my least favorite of the 3, but I still like it.
I hear people, I hear the opposite. I hear people say that the second one is the clear best.
Interesting.
And I think it's really good.
Yeah.
But I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree with that. But yes, I think they have a great trilogy trilogy, and they bring a very fun dynamic when they come into the Avengers movies.
Yes.
So, very fun dynamic. So, anyways,
Yeah.
even if Star-Lord has to be the LVP, least valuable player. So, oh well. Sorry, Star-Lord.
Yeah.
Anyways. Oh, and then Winter Soldier. Very fun. Gosh, we could do an entire episode on Winter Soldier. Like, it's great all around. I think it's just it's like a spy thriller, which is very fun. Bucky obviously is, I mean, what can you say? He's the best. And then the gag of the century here. Maybe not of the century. There's probably another big one that I'm forgetting. But very fun to see him back. Captain America's great. I've been back and forth when growing up watching these movies, whether I was more of a Captain America person or Iron Man person. I've gone back and forth so many times. But I feel like this movie, it's hard to not to be a Captain America person after that. He's just so great. Black Widow brings such a fun vibe to this movie. I'm almost mad they didn't. If they were gonna explore a romance with her, this is the one to explore. But whatever. I like them as friends though too. They have a lot of chemistry anywhere, whatever they're doing. And yeah, and then we get more Hydra here, which I feel like they're always an interesting element. I mean, they're a big element in a lot of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's very fun. So, yeah. I wouldn't say fun to see them back, but they always are used well, I feel like. So, anyways.
And our lists are officially the exact same.
Okay,
I have
cool.
at number 2 Guardians of the Galaxy, at number 1 Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Guardians of the Galaxy, I think, is so fun. I feel like people forget how iconic that first one is, considering they basically started from scratch and completely reinvented most of these characters.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Gosh. I think the casting was so well done. I think the visuals in that movie are gorgeous. This one has like a space epic feel to it, which I think is very fun. It uses comedy so well, which James Gunn is almost like coined at this point, like that brand of comedy and action.
Yeah, it's like
needle drops. Oh.
Yeah. Thank God he popularized that, because it's kind of awesome. And he does it really well every time. I feel like he's never really had a miss, in my opinion.
Yeah, not what I can think
remember.
of.
Yeah. So.
Ronan, I think, is ultimately forgettable, but I almost feel like that's almost intentional to have a character that's like an antagonist that's so serious and talking about blood wars and like divine justice and destroying planets, and then he ends up being beaten by this like space
dance battle.
This like space breakfast club and dance battle.
It's true.
I don't know. I think that just adds so much to the aesthetic of these goofballs in an otherwise super serious and like well established world.
Yeah.
I think it's just so fun. And then not to mention, I think the aesthetic around Ronin is really cool.
I agree. And there's another Infinity Stone.
Yes. I think the Infinity Stone, it's the first one that I think is officially called the Infinity Stone. We see Nowhere for the first time. Xandar, every location I think is so fun. The characters are great. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to even add other than it's all just really great.
I mean, the cast is great. I want to shout out the cast specifically. Like, there's some great picks here. There's not a weak link. I think it's really funny that Vin Diesel is Groot. It's so, like, I can't even imagine what he's getting paid for this. It's probably a lot considering he says one line. But he's great. Everybody loves Groot. And then Bradley Cooper is such a great pick for Rocket. He does such a fun voice. I love when they bring that up in Abbott Elementary. It's very fun. They're like, "You're Rocket Raccoon."
No. I'm gonna throw this out here. This may be a hot take. When Volume 3 came out, James Gunn was saying that like, and this is to reveal that Rocket has been the main character of this entire trilogy. and I'm gonna call bullshit on that. He's had a really great arc in every
Yeah.
movie,
Mm-hmm.
but he is not the main character of this
No,
one
I don't-
or the second one.
No, I don't agree with that. I think obviously the third one, but no. Not the main character the
Crazy.
entire
But
time.
he's such a great character.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I should be hopeful, but I like that he's still out there doing hero stuff, him and Groot with the new Guardians.
Yeah.
And I would be so happy to see them again somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know when or what that would look like, but God, I hope so.
It's out there. James Gunn was like, here's the characters. They have a good ending if you don't want to use them again, but you can. So, you
Crazy.
know where to find them.
But yeah, so fun.
Mhm.
Going over to Captain America the Winter Soldier. Oh my gosh, spy thriller.
And this is, I believe, the Russo brothers' first MCU
movie,
film.
yes.
So
and
what a way to
they
start
knock
out.
it out of the park.
Mhm.
Obviously the aesthetic is super great. I think
Yeah.
the chemistry between our main cast is great.
fight
Introducing Sam
scenes,
Wilson,
so
bringing
great.
back
Mhm.
Bucky Barnes in
Yeah.
such a great way. I think
Tragic
Bucky
way,
Barnes is like
too.
maybe a little. I'm gonna say maybe a little forgettable in the first movie. I don't want to say that,
mean-
but he doesn't. I think shine in like any way compared to like he does here.
Yeah.
In any of the other movies.
I agree with that.
So I think they really brought life to that character, which I
Yeah.
think is so great, and I'm very happy for Sebastian Stan. 'Cause
Very
I'm sure he
happy-
would have found his way otherwise, but
Yeah.
this role did a lot to really boost him.
Mhm. And now he's going to be Harvey Dent, apparently, in the second Batman movie, which is going to
Crazy.
be
I'm very excited
so
about
fun.
that.
And then, supposedly that's who Scarlett Johansson's playing as his wife, I think. Somebody else with the
Interesting.
last name Dent. I don't know enough about them. It could, I guess I just assumed
I
wife.
feel like
It might
I've never
be sister.
seen anything about Harvey Dent's wife before.
Maybe it's
so
sister or I don't know,
I
man.
don't know what that's gonna be. I
But-
feel
but
like
I-
it's a missed
I-
opportunity to not see her as some kind of mobster because
Mm.
I want to see Scarlett Johansson
Well,
play a mobster.
I just assumed it was wife because people were saying Sebastian Stan signed up for this the second he found out he could be her love interest because he's always rooted for him and Black Widow. So that's why I assumed. I don't know how true that is. I've just seen
Mhm.
comments. So, anyways.
What was I saying? The action I think is so great,
So
especially
good.
considering like obviously they're super soldiers, but all of their stuff is like guns and hand-to-hand fighting. And it's still so exciting and
So good.
invigorating. I think
Mhm.
the camera shots are done so well.
And they're very different too. Like the Winter Soldier's fighting style, Captain America's, Falcons, and Black Widow's, all different fighting styles, and it
Absolutely.
works really well together.
I love
The
Nick
elevator scene is obviously very
Yes.
iconic.
Nick Fury here I think is really
It's
fun.
very
Seeing him
fun.
really be a part of an ensemble cast.
Yeah.
I think for the first time is really great. I'm gonna say I love Hydra being used here. What a bold swing
Mhm.
to at the end of this movie destroy Shield, which crazy, especially crazy considering you have a show called Agents of Shield.
Yeah.
And I actually know that there was like some people who were like, so how are we gonna have this show if the whole point of the movie was that Shield can't exist anymore?
Mm.
But then it's like, oh, but Shield's gonna still exist. And it's like, if I didn't love the show, I'd probably agree with you.
Yeah. But I do love
Um,
that show.
And then like the Hydra
just
plot
not-
line,
it's
I
just
think
not
is
canon.
done really well
Yeah.
in that show.
Mm-hmm.
What
Yep.
else? Oh, Alexander
Pierce.
Pierce, played by Robert Redwood, I believe is his name.
Sounds right.
What a great performance.
Mhm.
R.I.P. What I think could be a pretty forgettable villain role in a phase that has some very forgettable villain roles.
Especially with the Winter Soldier being an antagonist as well. Like, for you to be remembered in that movie is crazy in
Yeah,
itself.
what a
so.
talented actor.
Mhm.
I think he makes a lot of a role that could have fallen to the wayside.
Yeah. And that reminds me of the scene where Black Widow has like the mask and everything. I think that
That's
was
a
very
sick
underutilized.
mask.
Yes, I wish they would
Did I
use
step
that
on
more.
your moment?
Queen, you ate that. No, she's great here. I think this is one of her best like hairstyles. She has very different hairstyles, but I love
Oh.
it here.
I think this is my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Iron Man 2 one, but I don't love how sexualized she is in that movie, so it's hard for me to love that. But
Separate that.
I love the curliness of it.
The curliness is very fun. But this one feels
Avengers-
very like spy appropriate.
Yes. Even her look, like the sunglasses, everything's very fun. Obviously, the Avengers, she has short hair. I've never been a huge fan of the blonde. I mean, she always looks great. Don't get me wrong, but I love her signature
The blonde
red.
is an
so...
odd choice, I agree.
But I like it in game when it's like grown out to be red. I think that's kind of fun.
Gosh. And
But
then
anyway,
I will say, I enjoyed the Black Widow movie, I think, more than most.
me too.
But I think what a missed opportunity to not have a movie starring Black Widow that's more about like how she is here and like the spy thriller aspect that she brings with this one.
I think she could have had a great trilogy.
Yes, I completely
So that's
agree.
the missed
And
opportunity.
I hate that there's like the perfect groundwork for her to have had a trilogy,
Yep.
which is prequel to her mission with Clint,
Mm-hmm.
whatever she does after she leaves in this one where she's no longer a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent,
Mm-hmm.
and then where we see the Black Widow movie.
Yep.
Pissed.
Yep. That would have been so great.
Ugh.
Oh well. Well, she ain't never coming back, especially after they handled that whole like Black Widow incident with the
Mm-hmm.
streaming, and she ain't never coming back. And I don't blame her for that. So, anyways.
Yeah. I think that covers most of my thoughts on these. We're obviously going to get a little bit more in detail as we kind of go movie by movie. So please let us know your rankings in the comments below. We would love to hear what you think. Okay, going to our outline. Oh. What's up first? It's Iron Man 3. So this is the end of that trilogy. The only Iron Man movie to be in
The $1 Billion Club
yes, which is crazy, I think.
is, yeah.
Well, maybe not that crazy. It's the first one after the Avengers, and it's, you know, Iron Man. I can see how it got there, but if like looking at this on its own, I think that's kind of crazy.
Because people rewatched this movie and you're like, why? Why would you do that?
Yeah, and it's directed by a different person. The first ones are directed by Jon Favreau, Happy Hogan, and then here they go to Shane Black, who directed things such as The Nice Guys, which I've heard is really good actually, The Predator, which is not good actually, and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. And those are like some of her highest ones. How do you feel the directing holds up in this one compared to the first two?
I don't know.
I would say it feels aggressively different.
It does. I don't know. I also haven't rewatched this one in a while. Try not to think about it too much. Kind of like Thor: The Dark World, which is unfortunately our next talking point as well. I don't know. I think that it makes sense to me that a different person has their hands on this project than the first two.
It feels like, and I feel like it like also translates to the script, but like the movie I think feels less visually popping. Like I think the suits feel a lot more like grounded, and I think it like the metal and grittiness is a bigger thing here, whereas I think everything else feels a lot more polished in 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And I think you feel that in the script. It's trying to be a lot, I think, grittier.
I mean, there's some interesting ideas here. Like you said, I also really like the exploration of like, who are you outside of the suit? Your past actions coming back to haunt you, I think is always, on paper interesting. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the villain, so it didn't really work all that much for me. And there's like, what's so cool about Iron Man is the suit ups. So unfortunately, when you are exploring,
he does have a great one with like at the very beginning, but then I feel like every other one, like in the third act, is like very rushed.
Yeah.
What a shame. Trying to think of other things to go through, but I made a list. First movie of the Avengers. Iron Man having panic attacks. I will say the first one, I think, really introducing the character, going from someone who's really egotistical. He always is egotistical, but someone very grand and careless, and like I think that's a great arc in the first one. Second one goes through a lot of things, but it dabbles in his alcoholism and his self-destructive behaviors.
Because he's dying.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then going into 3,
not dying anymore.
This one focuses a lot on kind of panic and stressing about what's coming next.
Yeah, well, I think because this one is after the first Avengers movie, where this sets up his entire like Age of Ultron, then Civil War arc. Like Age of Ultron just kind of adds to what I think was already kind of there, in the first Avengers movie, where like what will he do to prevent world-ending events from happening, and could that be worse than like the alternative, just like waiting for the world? I don't know. It starts a very interesting conversation, but I feel like we don't get very far here. I don't know.
Well, here what I like is the idea of you can't like keep waiting for the worst thing, like the next battle to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's another fun kind of theme explored here with the idea. I think ultimately it's crazy that he blows up his suits at the end. Oh my god. But I get it, I guess. I wish maybe you found a better way to do that.
Yeah.
I kind of like the extremists. The fire people and their abilities. I feel like it isn't used well here, but I think they're visually interesting. And like the scene where he's running away from the girl in the small town, like I think that she looks terrifying in that.
Visually, I would agree. Yeah.
And like when like their limbs grow back, I think that also looks great. So there was something there with that, I think.
Some good elements. I just don't feel like they maybe came together near as well as they could have.
I think it's also bold to have a decent chunk of this movie take place in like Nebraska or wherever that small town is. Yeah, he's kind of all over the place here.
This is the one where he meets the little kid.
Yes, in the small town.
What's his name?
Hurley? It's Hurley or Harvey?
Harvey. I forgot his name. He's fun though. I wish they utilized him maybe a little bit better. I mean, he was good in this movie, but then they never use him again, and then he's like at the funeral, so it's kind of like, oh, okay.
Absolutely.
He's kind of replaced by a Spider-Man character, so I don't know. It's kind of interesting. But he was probably my favorite part of this movie, was the little boy and any interaction between the two of them. I do like that.
Right.
Anyways, what are we looking for?
Making sure I know. Yeah, it's Harley.
Okay.
Oh, and Jenna Ortega's in this movie. Crazy.
Right, I do remember that. She's like the president's daughter
The
or something
vice
like that.
president's
Yeah,
daughter.
somebody's daughter. Queen.
Okay, fake Mandarin.
I mean, he's funny, and I'm glad he's used much better later. And obviously, I love Shang-Chi. I love so much about Shang-Chi, and he's great in that movie. And then I'm also excited to see him in Wonder Man coming out soon. Here this is not the Mandarin character, so.
I will say I kind of enjoy kind of an antithesis to Iron Man with the idea of it's another rich billionaire science genius, and the idea of, those people redirecting who the public fears,
Yeah.
and who's actually behind the horrible things that happen to them. I think that's really interesting.
Sure.
Even if I think ultimately with all the stuff going on in this movie, with the villains specifically, I don't think it lands as succinctly as it could.
Yeah.
And I think that's everything on Iron Man 3. Oh, how do you feel about the falling out of the plane scene?
I feel like I remember liking it, having them all linked together. It was fun. The chaos of it. I do remember. I forgot that was in this movie. So, I do like that scene from what I remember. Yeah.
I think it's probably the most exciting scene.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to Thor: The Dark World. So, I know you don't like Thor. Where does this rank among, how do the other films compare to this?
Oh, well, this is definitely my least favorite. Gosh, I don't even know. Obviously, Ragnarok is going to be number 1. And then 2 or 4. Or no, 1 or 4. I feel like I do kind of remember liking parts of the first one, but I also kind of like parts of The Dark World. Not The Dark World. Thor: Love and Thunder. Oh my god. Gosh, I would probably put it Thor: The Dark World, Thor: Love and Thunder, first Thor, and then Ragnarok.
Okay.
I think actually that's a really good order for me.
Well, that would be my order.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So this is the only movie that this director did, Alan Taylor. I think clearly he got this from his work on Game of Thrones. He went on to direct episodes for House of the Dragon, Interview with a Vampire, and Blue Eye Samurai.
The movie or show? Interview with the Vampire. Do you know?
I can look it up. Again, we've had these notes for a hot second.
We've built this outline a long time ago, like a month ago or 2.
But this is our least favorite film. Do you want to maybe talk about
Yeah.
some of the reasons it's your least favorite film of this phase?
Gosh, it's hard to say because a lot of it is just I don't remember a lot of it despite watching it a few times. So it's a bit it's just one of those, it's like
It looks
oh,
like
I
it
don't
is the
remember.
TV show.
It is. That's good. Well, he's maybe he should stick to TV because clearly he's thriving there. But anyways, I will say I think it's easier to say what I liked. I love the Reality Stone and the use of that. That's very fun.
And I like the portals used throughout. I think that
Yeah.
is the most fun part of this movie.
Yeah. Their mom's death, I think, is very. I don't even know. It's fun because we have the full context of Thor and her's conversation later about I have to tell you something. She's like, don't tell me. It's fine. I loved that conversation, so I know I love the context of it actually happening for the first time. How Loki's dealing with that aftermath. I think that whole scene where he's pretending everything's fine, but then reveals what is actually his condition in the room and everything, I think is great. So great. I love villains that have layers to them. I'm not one of those that's I want more villains with layers, or I want more villains that are just pure evil. I like a good mix of both. But he's, I think, a great example of one with layers.
You can
that
have
it's
both.
not. Yeah.
I think he clearly has issues to a point where he is unreasonable. But there's still some complexity to him that makes him interesting, and he's evil.
Yeah. So I love that the start of his little arc there of, maybe not being evil anymore. Escape the villains. Right, and then we see the Collector. I feel like I forgot about that.
He's in the end credit scene.
That's why.
Because the Asgardians deliver him the ether. Because then that's when they name
do.
drop. It's not safe to have 2 Infinity Stones at the same place, which is
Yeah.
for the first time hinting that the Tesseract is an Infinity Stone.
Yes.
And then that's when the Collector says 1 down, 6 to go, which, other than the fact that they deliver the Power Stone to him later, doesn't really do anything. And he's presumably dead now, which, honestly,
okay.
a bummer. Because Benicio del Toro...
Yeah. You missed out.
should have had more opportunity to eat.
Yeah.
Those
are the good parts. I have always liked Jane as a character. I think she's been very fun.
I love the almost Romeo and Juliet-esque love story between them. I think that's like I think there's a couple really good parts of the first Thor, but I think that's one of the best. And I think the human ensemble in the first one, I think, is solid. Into the second one, I think
Darcy and you get
Darcy's in the first one.
Skarsgård.
They're both in the first one.
That's what I'm saying.
But
yes,
here,
that is exactly
I feel
what I
like
said.
in the second one,
Then they're not here.
they're here.
Not a lot. Are they?
They're here fairly a lot. They don't go to Asgard with them, but definitely in like the first, at least third, they're here. Darcy gets her own assistant. Stellan Skarsgård is naked at Stonehenge and throws away his meds. I don't know. They go from being really great or like a really fun part of the first one to they're here.
Maybe that's why I forgot they were in this movie. And that's sad because they're very talented.
I would say they're no longer a highlight of this one.
And what a shame, because that is not on the actors.
They're
at
such
all.
talented actors.
Yes.
And it gets a little too, I would say maybe Hallmark is the right word to describe it with them. It feels weird. Also in the negative, I'm going to talk about our villains.
Dude, I had to look both of them up because I remember the design of one. So when I saw him, I was like, yeah, I remember that guy. The other guy, I'm like, I don't even remember you. Like, I'm looking at your picture right now, and I'm like, I have no memory of this. So that's pretty bad.
Malekith is our main antagonist. He's the leader of the Dark Elves.
That's who I remembered.
Yes. And I think this adaptation is pretty bad. I haven't seen him a lot in Thor stuff. I don't know. The Dark Elves show up kind of every now and then, but Malekith has kind of come off a little bit Loki-esque, where he's kind of like evil, maniacal, and like I always see him like laughing in his comic frames. And this is not that.
No.
It feels like the director here is almost going for a White Walker aesthetic, which doesn't work.
Wonder why.
I actually feel like that's kind of the inspiration behind them.
Yeah, maybe.
And it doesn't land here. And then the character in the comics, he's like half blue, half black on his face.
Interesting.
So like when the scarring happens like halfway through the movie, that's like, oh, he's that now. It's like, no, he's not blue. And then I don't know if Curse I've not really seen before, but I remember him from this movie.
I don't. That's what I'm like. I see your picture. You are in the movie. I don't remember anything about you.
Considering he's just like a grunt who's really strong, essentially throughout in like the flashback when it's like the war for the ether, they have these like stones that they can like inject into themselves, and it's basically like steroids until you die magic, where you like become this like giant super strong monster. And it's a curse, so you're cursed.
Oh my
and
God.
It's the last one that they have, and it's like
oh
his
my
like,
God,
right
you're
hand
the
man or
chosen
whatever.
one.
But no, he has some fun moments here because he does the prison break, and then he makes the choice to leave Loki in his cell after staring him down. He's like, "No, I'm not gonna do that." And then Loki's like, "By the way, you want to take the stairs to the left?" And he's like, "Okay." I don't know, him and Loki's fun. And then he also backhands Mjolnir when it's being thrown at him, which is also a gag. He's pretty fun, considering he doesn't really have lines when he's fun.
So sorry.
Certainly,
sir.
I think
don't
he's
remember.
more interesting than Malekith is.
Sorry.
But ultimately, still pretty forgettable. Although I also love his design. Am I a curse stan?
Maybe it sounds like it.
Ugh. Okay.
Maybe I need to be a Kirsten. I don't know.
Arc elves. Frigga. Ugh. I think Frigga is so underutilized.
Yeah.
But yet her death still feels like a lot of weight behind
Devastating,
it.
Yes.
Ugh. Gosh. Janae Russo kills that role, even though she is given like crumbs to work with.
Yeah.
Ugh. It feels so real with like the meeting the mother type stuff. I think she does a lot of work to make that land. I think it's so cute. Oh, and then her Viking funeral. Love, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty. Loki fakes his death again, as he does. Then he ends up being.
He never does.
And then he ends up being Odin at the end of the movie. And then Thor also officially. This is the movie he decides he's not going to be king. Which is,
a choice.
it leads him into Ragnarok, which I think is
Which is great.
where he's the most interesting and fun.
Yeah. I think so too.
But,
Anything else on that movie?
I don't
Not much.
think
to
so.
say.
Crazy.
It's definitely one of the worst MCU films. It's down there. It's pretty down there. I don't know if it is the worst. We'd have to. Maybe we'll do a list on that later too.
Oof.
We don't have to do a full ranking.
I don't
but
think
like,
it's the worst in that I think there are some MCU movies that are like hardly movies anymore. Like this is a plot with a beginning, middle, and end, which can't be said for some. If not one comes to mind, but it's down there.
Okay, I have no idea. It's okay. Yeah, I think maybe we should do like a bottom 10 and top 10 later. That would be fun.
Sure.
Anyways.
Going on to
Speaking of top 10.
and imagine what whiplash this must have been to go
It's an audience
Iron Man 3, which I think pretty agreeably didn't meet people's expectations at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Then to Thor: The Dark World,
Like,
and then
man, is Marvel dead already?
and then the Winter Soldier.
Then Winter Soldier. They found their Russo brothers, and that was the key.
Apparently, it was their first film. They were probably most known for Community, probably at the time.
Probably.
And they bring in a lot of Community actors throughout their movies, which is very fun.
I haven't seen it, so I can't speak on that. But
trying to
I know you said it's really good, and I'm sure it is.
It's very
'cause-
funny.
yeah.
But you would know probably the best one is in Endgame, the woman in the elevator with Tony and Captain America when they're on the base. The one who reports them because he has the hippie mustache.
Nope, so sorry. Sorry, Queen. Anyways.
Political thriller. I love that this is like the first, maybe not the first, but the second phase of the MCU really, I think, mixes genres in really interesting ways.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they should do that maybe more often, which I feel like they've done that in their shows. Like WandaVision's is so sitcom-y. I don't even know. We could go through them. She-Hulk, I think a lot of people agree would have been better if it was more like a courtroom drama kind of thing. Because anytime it usually wasn't that good. Daredevil's very fun because I think especially like the first 3 seasons have a good mix of both superhero stuff and courtroom drama stuff. And just in the entire world of corruption. So I feel like there is certainly an argument there that the MCU is at its best when it has a not like a superhero action genre in the front, or they have something
agree.
else there.
I think it's always fun to have a mix so that your film has more than just, I think, Marvel and superhero stuff as like the main lead and inspiration.
Yeah.
I think you're in a film or like a visual medium, and there's so much history behind this medium. I think there's so much to benefit from taking inspiration from other genres.
Yeah.
I think that's worked typically really well, especially in like the superhero genre.
Yeah, well, even as someone who doesn't like the Multiverse of Madness movie, it is like it blends some horror elements, and I think those are great. I think the visuals on that are great with Wanda. Anytime she's killing somebody, I think it's very interesting. Even like the very, very, very few fight scenes we get between her and Doctor Strange, especially like I think like of the music note one is very fun. So when they push that, it's fun in that movie. So something to be said there.
Sure. The Hydra Shield takeover. I talked about this a little earlier, but that was very bold. And then to take Shield basically out of the equation in the movies,
Yeah.
is kind of crazy. Ultimately, I think it ended up working for them. I almost wonder if maybe a Shield-esque entity kind of being at the center of the universe, of like this universe, would be a little helpful right now, as I think there's not a lot of center points people are feeling are currently here.
Yeah. There's a lot of great individual stories, but how on earth do you bring them together? Like obviously we see they are doing that. I'm not going to speak on the recent trailer so much since it's technically not out online yet. But it's kind of just like, how are these people going to be brought together? And we see that they are, but it's like when Shield was there, there's a connecting point there. So I feel like it makes more sense. It blends well.
And I will say it's actually
So I don't know.
interesting, I think, how well Phase 2 and 3 brought characters together despite there not being like that Shield
Yeah.
agency that's actively trying to push that.
True.
But I feel like going into Phase 4 and on, not having anything to serve that same role, I think could be kind of at its detriment.
It's hard. It's like when you had the Avengers Tower, it's like if nothing else, that could be their meeting place. But now, like, where's their meeting place? I guess I would say like Wakanda, which is great, but have they really pushed that? Or
Well, now
is that
the new
just like
Avengers probably still have Avengers Tower.
That's true. But then they're not like that's like
I'm
a
curious.
fake thing.
I feel
so
like
don't
it's
even
gonna be
know.
so bizarre to see whatever Sam's Avengers are.
Yes.
Like, I
How
feel
the
like
heck-
it's
where do they
insane
meet?
that we're going to see them for the first time in that movie.
I kind of hate that. And yeah. I
Although
don't
we're
know.
gonna see Hulk in Brand New Day, so maybe he can shed some light on what that actually looks like.
Maybe. I'm really hoping Brand New Day does do something to build up. I don't know, if part of me's like Doomsday is doomed, so stay away from it. But also I feel like I'm remembering the director is the same one from Shang-Chi. And he had that fun post-credit scene with the three of them kind of communicating with Shang-Chi. So, I don't know, maybe that could be fun. Maybe he could make it work. I would
And
trust
in any
him over a
case,
lot of
I
other people.
think there's a lot of characters that I think are in weird places going into that movie.
Mm-hmm.
That should be set up to do things after that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So
agree.
I think Brand New Day and Spider-Man, like the Home trilogy, has done really great work to really show where like the typical civilian perspective of superhero stuff, which I think has always been super cool.
Yeah.
I can so easily see there being a conversation of, which Avengers are we talking about? The new ones or the old ones?
Yeah. I also feel like there could be very quick lines like that just start to add to the picture. There could be a couple post-credit scenes that they use. They could use both to add to Doomsday. So there's at least like 5 or so minutes of content to build up. I mean, that's not a lot, but it's better than nothing. So I don't know. We'll see.
Project Insight was ultimately the big third act and what they're trying to prevent in this movie. I actually really love the idea of that being like the mission to stop here. I think having Captain America be against the American government, as he often is, but this is the first time he officially was, I think that just worked so well, and I think it resonates really well with the idea of him representing the ideals of America instead of the American government. And I think coming into here and that freedom is something that like isn't easy, but you know, it's better than this. Yeah, I think it's a really great kind of exploration of that on a very heightened scale. And the ensemble is just so fun. Introducing Sam Wilson, I think his introduction with the on the left is very fun, and then obviously
So
that
iconic.
stays
Yes.
as iconic.
Long time. He's very fun. I feel like there's never really been a dip in his character. I mean, he hasn't been here a lot, but at this point, he has a movie, he has a show, and he has popped up in places before that. I feel like I've just always really liked him as a character.
I think
Wherever he is.
Sam Wilson, I think
Even if maybe he deserves better.
I think
but-
Anthony Mackie has done a lot
Yeah.
to like keep the character interesting,
Yeah.
despite outside of this movie and his show going into Cap 4. I feel like that Russo's actually kind of dropped the ball on him in every movie after this, because he ends up like this
Well, in
is
Civil War too. He's in it, but
he's
not.
in it, but he's always just doing what Captain America does. He never has his own really agenda or interesting plot line or plot line outside of whatever Captain America's doing. I think that's ultimately what I think the Russos' like biggest failure as in their MCU career is that they introduced such a great character that stayed around, but he hasn't done anything interesting, and they continued to be the one who uses him the most. And then I think that they have audiences question their choice to give Sam the shield in Endgame after they were the character that the directors who introduced that character. And then here in the next one, they're bringing back the original Captain America. I think it is just such a disservice that falls almost entirely on them.
It's very gross. I am definitely of the group that, and I love Captain America, but I despise that they're bringing him back because he didn't need to come back. I don't care if he's a part of the story. He shouldn't be a part of the story. That's my opinion. I know people are like, well, he's not going to be a cameo. He's actually, like, it's not just, like, a random, like, cameo to bring people in. Like, he's actually going to be important to the story. I don't want him to be. I don't want him in this movie because we've gotten so much of him, and you finally gave the shield to Sam, and he had a show and now a movie, and maybe the movie didn't do that well, but actually I'm pretty sure it grossed more than Thunderbolts.
Did more than Thunderbolts.
Anyways, also I'm pretty sure we have the poster here, which is fun. But it's like it's so gross that they would basically like replace him like that. And I don't know. And you know, now that we're pointing out that the Russo brothers have had their hands on that character a lot, when he hasn't been very interesting, I don't trust that they're going to deal with both of them in a great way. So, which is why I'm saying replace, because I feel like based off what we've seen, they basically are replacing him again. So, very disappointed because Sam Wilson deserves better. So much better. Anyways.
And he's so great in this movie. I know. So Falcon as a character before this movie was very different. He had, I don't think he had real wings, but he had wings.
Oh, like in the comics?
Yes.
Okay.
He had the power to talk to birds, and Red Wing was a real Falcon, who he could like psychically see through.
Okay.
So needless to say,
That's very
that is
different.
not what they went with here.
No.
And then have you seen the stuff about like Joaquin when he becomes Falcon?
Mm-mm.
When he was debuted as Falcon, he was experimented on to be mixed with Falcon DNA. So he physically has wings under his arms.
Right.
This character has gone through very different adaptations. One of my favorite adaptations was in the Avengers Assembled animated Disney show that I grew up watching. Sam Wilson, his Falcon suit had like energy wings.
Ooh.
And they like came off as like projectile, and they were like red. And I think that is kind of my like favorite adaptation of Falcon as a character. It's so visually distinct. And yeah, I think it's just very fun design.
Interesting. I would not be against, the alternate universe where we saw that.
I don't know how well
Okay.
that took off, but that's the like when I think of Falcon, that's like the one that pops into my head.
Yeah.
Like that costume and that like design of what the wings are.
Yeah.
It's very fun. I understand where they went for like military here,
Yeah.
which I think makes sense as a grounded Captain America sidekick.
I think so.
And I think it.
Yeah, I don't mind what we got here, especially because I love his suit in his show later. I wish they kept that around longer. But the MCU is gonna MCU, so
No,
whatever.
for sure. And I think he's super fun here in the first
Yeah.
one.
I think the wings give him a fun edge for him not having the serum.
mhm.
So I think that's why I kind of like them. But
Black Widow, we talked a lot on her earlier, but she's so fun here. I love her dynamic with Steve.
yeah.
I love her connection to the Winter Soldier
Mhm.
beforehand. And then her and Steve bouncing off as the expert spy and someone who needs to suddenly be a spy.
Mhm.
I think it's so fun between them.
Yeah.
Oh, so great.
Like it's very fun that her and the Winter Soldier are very, very much they very much like keep up with each other as well. Like even though she doesn't have the serum and isn't mind controlled, she's that bitch. She's so good. I adore you, Black Widow. Anyways,
Indeed.
she is that girl.
Our villains here, we have Winter Soldier. I don't know if there's a lot else to touch on with him other than he's great. The metal arm, I think, is so cool.
I feel like I almost like it the most here. I mean, I like certain I don't know, designs of it or whatever. Like I like when it's
The
vibranium.
Wakanda arm is pretty sick.
Yes.
But here it definitely feels almost akin to the shield.
Mhm.
Like it's his version of having a weapon on him.
It has
which
the
I think
star
is
as
very
well.
cool.
So
I
whatever
love
arm.
his theme here. They're like, oh,
well said.
like the
Yes.
like,
No,
like
the themes are
piercing
great. Mhm.
theme of his. Oh, I love how he just kind of slips into the shadows,
Mhm.
which is so cool.
I love the gosh, I don't even know. Well, I like the mask. I think is very fun.
The
Really?
heavy ass
Yes.
eyeshadow.
Well, because he doesn't have either, from what I remember, from here on out, because then Captain America gets to work to trying to unbrainwash him, and even when he gets back, like it's not like he like
He doesn't go into the bathroom and
no.
it's like,
No, that's not part of his routine. So it's just a very iconic look here. Yeah, I don't know. It's just great.
no, and then
Adore
him
him.
coming out of the brainwashing on the ship. Love that scene.
Yeah.
Ugh, love. Alexander Pierce, we talked on him earlier. Really impressive actor.
Mhm.
Shines even though there's like a much more iconic villain here. But he definitely pulls his weight,
Mhm.
especially like across from Samuel L. Jackson.
Mhm. Yeah.
Great.
He did a great job.
And then Arnim Zola was adapted here. He was a scientist for Hydra in the first movie. In the comics, he's like this, like, he's put onto a screen on the stomach of a robot. Similar to what you see in What If
Yeah.
in
Okay.
season 1
Right.
with like him going into Vision.
Mhm.
There's like a Hydra robot that does that, which is why he's on the stomach of Vision.
Mhm.
But he's on a screen and he's like he hacks things and whatnot. Akin to Ultron, except he like was a real person.
Mm-hmm.
And then here, I think he's adapted in a very grounded version of that, where it's him still, and he's doing all of Hydra's work within Shield. And I
So
love that whole
creepy.
scene. It's very creepy.
I love the entire conversation right before he blows up that room or whatever. He's just so spooky.
Indeed. And his
Yeah.
last Hail Hydra before the room explodes. And then
Ooh.
also, what you might not notice, as someone who hasn't seen the character before,
Mm-hmm.
when you first see that character in the first Captain America movie,
Mm-hmm.
he's like his like head is really big because it's like through a microscope, which is supposed to be like how he looks on the robot.
Right.
I think it's so cool. So cool. Action.
Kind of talked
So
about a lot
great
of the
about the
great action
action.
scenes. There's so many.
Like Samuel L. Jackson in the car scene, I love.
Yeah.
Him, Captain America versus Winter Soldier on the street is great.
Anytime it's
The
Winter
chase scene
Soldier and
on the
Black
roof.
Widow. Yeah.
Oh, and then on the boat.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of great action
ones.
here. And then drops the shield into the ocean. Crazy that he ever gets that back. I mean, maybe not that crazy, but
It's a little crazy that he gets that back. Like, okay, you're lucky. Did you put an air tag in that? You should.
Hey Tony, can you go through the river and find my shield?
No, actually. He just sends one of his empty suits to do it. Why would he go to do it, you know?
Indeed.
So, yeah.
But then that is all we have on Winter Soldier. Any other thoughts?
Mhm.
Okay. Next up, we had Guardians of the Galaxy. I was introduced to these characters maybe a year before because of the animated shows that I was watching at the time.
Okay.
And they were brought to life and completely reimagined after that point. There's like a before this movie and an after this movie for these characters,
Okay.
which I think is so interesting. Like Star-Lord was borderline just like a boring space pilot beforehand.
But that's why I feel like when people are worried about James Gunn doing stories on what they would think are not big people, maybe in any other time other than building your world, it would be fine to have those projects. But some people I think are questioning that, like why now? Why at the start? And maybe from a business perspective, that's weird. But I feel like just as a fan of his, I trust him to do that well because of things like this. Like a lot of these characters, from what I've heard, were not a big deal or were very, very different before. And he just brought them together in such a fun way. So it's like, I trust you. And then he's done that with the Suicide Squad as well, which upon a rewatch, we liked that movie. So I don't know. It's like I trust him until he gives me a reason not to. And it's not going to be, you know, one bad project. Like he's going to need to have a few bad projects before I'm like, okay, maybe not anymore. So
Indeed.
I trust that guy.
Star-Lord, I would say this is the first movie I think I saw Chris Pratt in. Like this is the first time he ever kind of clocked
Interesting.
for me.
I've seen something of his before this. I feel like, oh no, we haven't ranked it. We ranked Channing Tatum. I don't know why I got them mixed up for a second, but oh gosh, I don't know. Maybe does Letterboxd show you movie? Yeah, they would show you movie season, so maybe I'll look at that.
I think before this he was most popular on Parks and Rec, which I haven't seen, but I've heard is really good.
Yeah, I've seen a couple episodes, not a lot of that, so can't really speak on that.
But I think he comes in here and like is an homage to so many like leading men of the 80s in such a fun way.
He does great work here.
Gosh. And then I'm almost a little sad that we end up losing it, but like the iconic red coat.
Yes,
Oh.
it's a very iconic look.
I love it. His guns in the comics are originally elemental guns. So it's guns that like shoot like the 4 elements. We lose that element. They're just kind of like
I mean, that sounds cool. But I it's hard for me to imagine that with the version we got.
I
him.
agree. It feels like maybe you'd have to do a little bit of explaining on it.
Yeah, I don't know about
Ultimately, I'm fine with what we got.
that. Mhm.
I think they serve their purpose. And his ship is iconic. Like, I love his
So
first
iconic.
ship.
Yes. No, I love the opening scene with him. I think that's a great character introduction. To show that, he's not afraid to kill people like some of our heroes are. He's got a job to do, and he's funny.
The iconic who?
Yeah, he's a little bit like not dumb, but like not quite.
You can
well,
say dumb.
yes, okay, maybe. Yeah, but it's just kind of funny. He's a very fun character. I feel like there's a lot of characters actually in the MCU that have big egos, but they're all, I think, represented in very different ways. Like I think of Tony, obviously, Star-Lord. Thor, I think he maybe not. I mean, the first movie, big ego, but from then on, he just kind of gives like alpha male, I guess. And then I also think of Doctor Strange, who definitely has moments that where he has a big ego. So, but I feel like they all have pretty different personalities.
And dude,
which is interesting.
I love that Star-Lord has
some
like
good, some bad. So
he has a huge ego, but then he also has like a pathetic loser streak to him.
yes,
Which I think is
and
really
he's
fun.
funny.
Yes.
Because Tony has a big ego and he's funny, but I don't think he really has the pathetic loser quite. It's very, very different for him. So, yeah. Made me think of that. Good job, Marvel.
Gamora introduced.
Oh, I probably saw him. Wait.
Oh,
Oh, no, the Lego movie probably came out after this, right?
I think so.
It did. Well, it came out 2014. When
So
did
that was,
this
I
come
think,
out?
2 years after.
So it's the same year.
No, same year. Ooh, big year for him.
Interesting.
Gamora.
So whichever one came first. Jurassic World, when did these start coming out? Dude, I don't even know. Anyways, we can move on. Let's talk about Zoe Saldana.
Yes.
In another great role where she has to paint herself as a completely different color.
Mm.
Well, I mean, in Avatar, you don't have to do that, but in the movie, she looks different.
Yes,
so.
yes.
Anyways.
Yes.
This looks great here. I love the green. Obviously, I think it makes me think of a trend on TikTok where people were like painting themselves different color to see like what looked the most natural for them. And I think green is like so her color. Blue is kind of hard to say because
It's not her face
it's not-
directly behind it.
no. Here it pretty much is, but then I also love the little like wider silver details that are on her face, almost like tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. It just gives like an extra. It just makes it feel more real to me. I feel like.
No, indeed.
So, yeah.
I think physically she looks great.
Mm-hmm. The hair, I love like that. It's kind of pink.
And I
in
love the streak, like
places.
the peak,
Yes.
the streaks. I
Yeah.
think look great on her.
Mhm.
I love her sword too, like how it like extends
She's like a
outward.
baddie.
Gosh, she's so cool. I love the escaped daughter of Thanos. Like I think that is
Nebula.
so interesting. Well, Gamora first.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that she's done horrible things, but kind of the look that she's done it to survive.
Yeah.
I love in the second one exploring her dynamic with her sister. God, I love them both in that movie so much.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, I don't know.
No, yeah. Upon looking, I feel like this one or the Lego movie was my first introduction to Chris Pratt. Sorry. Anyways, I was like really interested in that. No, yeah, I think she's great. Obviously, actually, I don't know, because I wasn't obviously old enough when the first Avatar came. I don't even know if I was alive. I forgot what year that came out in. But obviously, I did not see that in theaters. So I actually don't know. This might have been my first introduction to Zoe Saldana as well. Do you think it was yours, or do you know that you've seen Avatar before this?
I definitely didn't sit down and watch all of Avatar. That was in 2009.
Oh, then I was alive.
Yes, you
Okay.
are alive.
Cool. For some reason, I always think like the year 2000 or 2001. So I think too
Um,
early for that.
But this is definitely the first time I was like able to like actually value her performance in something I had seen.
So good.
I think it's funny that she's like done like the worst stuff, but she's also like the most level-headed of the
Yeah.
group,
hmm
which I think is fun.
She's very much like, I feel like in groups where there's like one female character, it's easy to fall into like, or to like give them like the mom role. But I feel like that's, I don't know. I feel like it could be her, but it's nowhere near the same way as as the dynamic usually is.
I feel like Gamora
She's
puts
just
on a lot
clearly
of
the
different
smartest
hats.
group. Yeah.
Like she is like there's moments where she's like the most sympathetic of the group. Like I think of like her voice crack when she's saying like we have to go protect Xandar, which I think is heartbreaking. There's moments where she's like the angry one and she's able to pick up like a ton like that gun from the ship that Nebula crashes in the second one, and is like able to carry that as it fires. Gosh,
She has so many layers to her, to where it is hard to say that she would be the mom of the group, because I feel like that could also very much be like Rocket to Groot. I feel like, so she is. Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. She has many different hats, or wears many different hats. So she does remind me kind of a lot of Nadiri, though. It's like I could totally see her talking to Star-Lord and saying like
and they both have an element of like not understanding the culture of their love interest.
Yeah. I could totally see being stupid like a baby, like a child. Like she would so say that to Star-Lord. So
Who put the sticks
cover
up their
that.
asses? That's so cruel.
Oh my god. And then Rocket and Groot.
Oh,
What a dynamic
oh
duo.
my gosh. Rocket
I love
is so
them.
fun. I feel like he's like the perfect mix of adorable and like an aesthetic that I think like men specifically are super like gun-toting, gun-slinging, quippy. Like
So
he almost
fun.
has like a western vibe
He
to him,
gives
which is
very much
fun.
cowboy, yeah. And I love that he likes to steal body parts from
That's
people.
a crazy
And I love that they keep up that bit like a long time.
crazy
So
bit.
he's like, I know we have a lot to do, but you need to get me someone's eye for no reason other than I want it. I guess it's wasting time and having unnecessary risk.
Gosh, he's so funny. Focusing on him just in this first movie, I think he's very fun. He's very well-meaning. He's very aggressive. And
But
he's
again,
super smart.
like, what a mother to Groot.
Yes.
Or what a father or whatever.
Here I feel like they have more of a friend dynamic because it's whenever he becomes a baby is when like that becomes like
Yeah.
it takes a village.
That's true.
Vibe.
That's true.
Which I
Yes.
think is super fun.
Mhm.
Here his dynamic with Groot I think is pretty friendship based. Groot, oh my gosh, so fun.
What a fun character.
Seeing him kind of like evolve throughout the movies has been really cool. But he starts as such like what an icon.
He's great.
Yeah, he's Tree. Power of Tree.
I am Groot. We are Groot.
Oh.
Stop.
Cinema.
No, actually. Yeah, and then I love his little. Is it the first movie when he's a little when he's
in
a
the
little
potted
twig
plant
and he's like
and he dances and then he freezes.
Oh my god, I love him. He's so cute. No, I do love his different phases. I love when he's like in the teenager phase, and then he's like rude and so funny, and he's a potty mouth. I think that's great. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know what else to say. I'm Groot.
I will say whenever Groot dies at the end, Rocket makes me so sad
Oh
about
my
that.
God, yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then Drax. I feel like Drax at the time was the most controversial character. I'm going to say controversial just because people either really liked him or really didn't like him.
Yeah. You know, I do feel like he's interesting because he, in any other dynamic, he'd clearly be the comedic relief, but this group doesn't really need that. But, and yet, I still feel like he kind of is still the comedic relief. He just has a very different, just very dumb way of being
Yes.
funny. He's just so like, if I move slow enough, you can't see me, and you're like, you're stupid. But it's funny because he's so stupid, and it's just, I don't know. I love his character design. I think that's great. I wish maybe his like trauma that he brings to the table was explored a little bit better.
I think the best that was ever explored is when he's talking about it with Mantis, and then Mantis feels that,
Mm-hmm.
and like he's so relaxed looking at it, and she's like sobbing.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I do wish that was something more at the forefront. I feel like of all of the Guardians characters, he's always been the most to the offside. And then
Absolutely.
him and Mantis became kind of a duo.
Mm-hmm.
They're a great
Which
duo.
is fun because she was also in the offside when she was introduced. So I like when two queens come together for their
To maximize their joint slay.
Yes. I love the holiday special. Anyways, yes, it's great.
But
then-
I do think ultimately people have come around to really enjoy Drax. And I love what it's done for Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
I think he is very talented.
I liked him in Dune. I don't know. I like him in the No, Knives Out.
Knives
Glass
Out.
Onion.
He's also in Dune 2049 for a little bit. And he's pretty great in it. Not Dune. Blade Runner 2049.
I was like, Dune. I was like, what do I know? No, yeah.
No,
Okay,
but Dave-
I still need to see that.
Dave Bautista's in a very interesting spot. I hope he can. It feels like he's just kind of pops up places. I hope he can cement himself pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I think he does some great work.
Mm-hmm.
Power Stone.
Her. Cool.
I love the shot where like he has the power, and then like as they're splitting it, Gamora like appears as his mom. It was like,
No, I love that whole scene when they're doing it together. They're such a team. I love them.
Nova Corps and the Kree War.
Yes.
I love like I've watched some of like the behind the scenes stuff, and apparently there's like just like a bunch of like detailed writings about their culture and about like the war and all of the different races that you see like for one frame on the planet. I think that's so fun. Like their entire culture of like the three circles with the connected line is like their three suns.
Aw.
I don't know. I feel like looking at this world, it feels very like real and lived in, which I think is super cool.
Yeah.
I love the difference between Xandar being this like warm, vibrant place with a bunch of different people there, as opposed to the Kree, which is very cold, and scaly. I don't know. I just love the designs and like the culture of the people. Nowhere in the Collector. Love Nowhere. Would love for our Eternals to come back and drop some lore on him.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Turtles.
But then the Collector's really cool. I love the What If episode where he's the antagonist and you get to see the Collector be like peak Collector villain. I think that's so cool.
His design is really cool, even if he's very underutilized.
He's supposed to be a very like flamboyant and out there character, adjacent to like the Grandmaster, which they're cousins. But I wish that was. I think it was used well here. I think it's a shame that he wasn't used well again till Nowhere was destroyed.
Yeah.
Or not destroyed, but attacked rather. Nowhere's still around. Action. How do you feel about the action in Guardians of the Galaxy?
It's great. It's very chaotic, very fun. I feel like it's very almost like brutal, just because so many people in the group are just like crazy. And again, I feel like Drax's fighting style represents his personality. It's just very like, I don't know. That just seems
It's
so
a lot
Drax.
of like.
And then Rocket.
It's not a lot of like powers fighting. It gives a lot more of like sci-fi fighting with like physical weapons and then
But very
like
cool
blasters.
physical weapons. Yeah.
But it still all works really cool.
Yeah. And the VFX is great for the amount of VFX in this movie. It's crazy. So yeah, props to them.
Like Groot and Rocket look amazing. Almost, I'm gonna say like every time they're in anything.
I agree.
Alrighty. I think that's going to close up Guardians of the Galaxy. Avengers Age of Ultron. So we talked a lot about the things that work and didn't work. This is Joss Whedon's second MCU film after the first Avengers.
So
I think it's so crazy to have gone like specifically like Black Widow in the first Avengers movie. I think she's really good. I think it's crazy to see her writing just completely dip going into this one. So bizarre.
It's very gross what they did with her character this movie. Even Hulk, like, he has honestly very few appearances as like Hulk. He has what? The first Avengers, second Avengers, and Ragnarok, and then he kind of loses it. So not very many appearances. So for this movie, I'm not really a huge fan of him because that entire storyline is gross.
I don't know. Whenever he's, I don't know. Like, I think there is room to explore that dynamic. Like, I think they are characters that could be drawn to each other for various reasons. I just wish it was done better if they were going to go for it.
I also just hate, like, I understand that she feels like a monster because of what she's done, but I also hate the conversation where she's saying she's a monster because she's like gotten a like forced hysterectomy basically. I thought that was disgusting, and that's still disgusting, and I just hate
like,
that.
Even if that's not what they were going for with what they were trying to say with the scene, because you know, I think the more obvious thing is you're a monster because of all of the people that you've killed, and like obviously the child that you know you've killed that they bring up later. But like watching the scene, like even knowing that going into it, it's hard to like rationalize how the scene is done. To like, if that's what you're trying to portray, you're not doing that well at all.
No, because their whole thing was, well, look what I did too, or look what has happened to me too, and I'm like a monster too, and I'm like, no, cut the cameras, stop what you're doing.
It's just so weird.
There's a couple scenes I don't mind. Like I like the scene where towards the beginning where she calms them down. You know, the sun's
I like
coming up.
the sun's coming up real low, and then I like them like at the bar at like the party. I think is fun.
Yeah,
where she's flirting with everyone. Is like, what do you mean everybody?
And then I like. I feel like I remember liking when she's saying, but I need the Hulk, and like pushes him, so he's forced into the Hulk. I think that's fun. Oh,
and then I feel sad every time whenever Hulk turns off her message on the Quinjet as he's going away.
Yeah.
Oh.
But then it leads to Ragnarok, which he's fun in Ragnarok.
And I think the Hulk as a character, like I think the Hulk is very fun here. Like he goes on another rampage here. But I think yes, like the Hulkbuster fight is so sick.
So good.
And it's so funny. Like it's maybe the funniest Iron Man is ever.
Yeah.
Because he's so funny in that scene.
I also like how it shows how much of a threat he is. Like for Iron Man to have built something that can't even hold him is
Iron Man and Bruce Banner.
Yeah. So kind of crazy.
Indeed. Let's think of some other great things. The action I think is so fun throughout. I talked on the cinematography being I think gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh my god, we haven't mentioned Vision yet.
I
at all.
love Vision.
This is like this and WandaVision are peak Vision. For sure. I love his conversations here, especially with Ultron. Some of the best pieces of dialogue ever in an MCU film, I would say. I love his introduction here. How they think he's going to be like Ultron 2.0, but then that entire scene of...
The scene, where he's, talking about Ultron versus him and what he is, and then picking up the hammer at the end.
Now we have to go. I love that. Oh my god. No, yeah. It's so great. Him and Wanda's minimal kind of dynamic.
And their interactions, it's not a lot, but it's still, I think, very meaningful when it happens.
Yeah.
That growing into romance in Civil War, it's like, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Girl, get with that toaster.
No, they're so great.
No, and I think they reimagined Vision in a really fun way, compared to him being similar to Red Tornado a lot from Young Justice. I think they moved him in a very different and very interesting way.
Yes, for sure. Love his design, the cape.
It came to life really well.
Yeah.
Ultron, great. Love the use of the robots. Love the asteroid being lifted up, very dinosaur-esque. Love his rationale behind it. I will say it's a change on who makes it. Ultron is notoriously made by Hank Pym in the comics. But beyond that, I think it's fine here that it's the Avengers that make him.
I always find it very interesting when people talk about Civil War and the big, whose side are you on? When we're actually having the correct conversation, which is not which team has the cooler members, because I think that's what people confuse it as. It should be, and should have always been, morally, whose side are you on? I think him being the one to create Ultron is a very interesting piece of dialogue here. Bruce Banner's not really in the conversation because he's not in Civil War. So he kind of gets out. He kind of gets out of that one. But I think that adds to it very well. How the person that almost brought destruction to the world, not only thinks that he does want to be under supervision, but then wants to force everybody else to be under supervision for his actions. I think are very interesting. We'll have that conversation. Yep, we'll have that conversation when we get to Civil War. So. Anyways.
Okay. I want to talk about the twins. Oh my gosh.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, I'm so sorry that they didn't keep you around longer because you were great. I mean, Wanda was always going to be more interesting, but...
I like the visuals on him. Especially considering the X-Men movies were coming out with Quicksilver around the same time. I think they did good work to show differences.
Yeah.
And I would say the effect on his running in that movie is similar, I think, in aesthetic to the Scarlet Witch's magic, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. They are twins, so even though they have different color magic, I feel like it's very two sides of the same coin or something like that. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I think both abilities are realized really well. Yeah. He doesn't have a ton of time to bond with the audience, but I think he's very personable in the time that he has.
He's got some good line deliveries. I'm trying to remember them. I promise they're good. I just have a bad memory.
You didn't see that coming?
Yeah. I mean, that one's probably his most iconic.
And then when he grabs Thor's hammer while he's running really fast, and he's like, "Oh, what's this?" And then he gets flung across the room.
No, he's very funny. Their accents are very strong in this movie. Obviously, this is his one time to do that. Wanda has times where she has no accent really, and then heavier later. So, I don't know. I always love their accent, though. I love when characters have accents.
That accent really comes and goes, doesn't it?
No, but it's great. She ate with that one. Yeah, the twins are great here. I loved their introduction. I believe in the post-credit scene of Winter Soldier.
Yes, correct.
That was awesome. Really the little blocks coming together. So good.
And then reimagining Wanda as like an emo girl, great choice for her
No,
introduction.
I love the deleted scene of "Is that my jacket?" from Black Widow. Have you seen that?
Yes. It's
Very
like,
fun.
but that's my jacket.
That's my jacket. No, it's great.
Oh, it's so good.
Love, I mean, we already mentioned some of these earlier, but love when they're all trying to lift the hammer, when Captain America slightly moves it. Yeah, I love the discussion, like, or debate of could he actually have lifted it and chose not to, or did he really just, like, slightly do it? Because I get some people have gripes with, you know, you're either worthy or you're not, so you should be able to either lift it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, but I kind of love the theory that it was just like a tease. I don't know. I wouldn't really mind either way if he did choose not to lift it, but he knew he could. But I love Iron Man and Rhodey specifically, both with the gloves trying to lift it. Hawkeye's very fun in this movie, you know, by himself, but also with Wanda. I think is very fun.
And with Black Widow, it's like the only movie they're
Yeah.
able to bond on their dynamic and on screen.
Yeah. I love them. I love when Hawkeye is interesting because he's very capable of being interesting if you let him. So,
Absolutely.
like, I love his show. I think it's great. So, they should have had a season 2, but they didn't want to pay him. So,
And King,
Anyways.
get your money.
I saw another tweet about that the other day, and people in the comments were like, "He's lucky to giving blah 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 blah."
Shut up.
No, actually, the fact that you're trying to give him half of what he got the first season just because he had a accident, that's crazy.
As your title
That's
character.
actually offensive to me. Yeah, as your title character. Anyways.
We're introduced to Ulysses Claw here in his talk about stealing from Wakanda.
Yep.
There's
Some Wakanda crumbs.
At the time there was a complaint. I don't know how many people still believe this, but saying that Age of Ultron was basically just a commercial for upcoming movies. I think that's aggressively invalid.
No, I don't see that at all.
But saying that it sets up, it's
I mean,
basically set up just for Ragnarok, Black Panther, and
I think that's a well-made Avengers movie.
yeah, I mean, it's them coming together and them going apart their separate ways.
Yeah.
And, like, you know,
Kinda
where
what
you
you're
can
supposed to
expect to see
do.
them again.
Yeah.
Highly disagree with that point.
That's crazy.
But Ulysses Claw, I think he's so fun here. I understand him ultimately dying in Black Panther, but I think it is such like it makes me so sad because I think he's so fun as Claw. And then also, like, Claw as a character has a really comic booky look about him that I guess we'll never get to see, but like he gets really into the whole like sound vibration stuff.
Oh. Okay.
Like, I don't know, man. I would love for them to somehow bring him back because Andy Serkis I also think is so fun.
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe not R.I.P. Claw, but you're missed.
Yeah.
And he's so fun. Like up against Ultron, being able to act against that, iconic.
You have the Hawkeye farm here, which I actually forgot about, but I loved. It's utilized so well in many, actually, kind of a few places here, or here and there. And I love meeting his wife for the first time.
Love you, Linda
Laura.
Cardellini.
Yes, she's great.
People
The
say
kids are great.
I think people take
Fun.
some people take issue with the farm, saying that it's basically just like a huge setup for Hawkeye to die, and then they subvert expectation. But I like the farm. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've
I
always
like the
been
farm.
I've always been a tad more pro Hawkeye than everyone else,
Me
but
too.
you know, let him have his farm.
I think so too. Mind Stone, Visions, Sokovia, all the things.
Bruce, and
What have we
then
talked about.
yeah, I
All
think
of
that's
this time.
most of our talking points. Oh, did you ever hear or see the alternate ending for Age of Ultron where Pietro survives and Captain Marvel just randomly shows up at the end, where it's like having all of the people be there in the Avengers thing?
No.
Yes.
I thought I had heard about an alternate ending, and maybe I had, but I clearly haven't heard any details about it because that does not sound familiar to me.
And it's not Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. They had like a stand-in actress.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Can you imagine if they had Captain Marvel in Civil War? Crazy movie at that point.
Yeah. How does that team not win at that point? But whatever.
Bananas. Alrighty, going on to the last movie of Phase 2, we have Ant-Man, the first MCU film directed by Peyton Reed.
Mm-hmm.
And what an interesting legacy that man has.
Yep.
This film was originally going to be directed by, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name. Scott.
But also, whoever was in charge of casting for this movie ate, because what a stacked cast.
Edgar Wright, I believe, was supposed to direct it.
Oh my god.
And then he ended up leaving because of artistic differences, and he wanted it to be a little more graphic.
Oh. You know, I'd be open to that. I like the comedy aspect, don't get me wrong. But I think he's a good director, so I wouldn't have been against what he maybe wanted to do there. But I like what we got, I guess.
I agree.
I'd be more interested to see his trilogy overall.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie specifically, I did overall still really like, especially the comedy aspect of it. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd as Scott Lang.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I think this was the first kind of reinvention of Ant-Man as well. I think Ant-Man has always been pretty portrayed as a scientist who follows the preceding Ant-Man of Hank Pym. So this is the first time it was kind of, someone not a scientist and really changing, kind of adding the comedy aspect into him.
I kind of like it. I like because it brings a fun dynamic when he comes together with the other three scientists. Mm-hmm. So, very fun there.
Yeah, and I like that the movie puts in the work, especially with the first one being a heist film, to show that he brings his own expertise into this movie. Mm-hmm. I think it's very fun.
He also has a very like silly and funny. I don't want to say dumb, but sometimes a little dumb. Presence here, but then without the ego, which is another like.
Absolutely.
You got some similarities there, but there's still a difference here, so very fun. Yeah, and I love the storyline with like his daughter, and there's obviously an
and Cassie is
there,
so
but
cute.
So cute in this movie.
Oh my gosh.
No, but obviously there is a good reason still that they're not quite a family. I mean, he's like a criminal, so I get it. Yeah, but then we know him to be a good person, so we're still rooting for him. It's very interesting exploration there.
Absolutely. Hank Pym.
Michael Douglas.
Oh,
that crazy.
I think he's fun. I think him and Paul Rudd bounce off of each other really well. Like, I think both characters are pretty at their best when they're sharing a scene together. Mm-hmm. And then, can we talk about the ants and the shrinking? I don't know if any movie could make ants look as cool as this movie. I think the other Ant-Man movies struggle to make ants look as cool as they do in this movie.
Yeah, well, it's kind of fun because they are, like, very cool creatures. Like, they're so small and can be killed very easily, so I think people, underestimate them. But they... especially when they work together and they're always like so together, they can carry so many things. I don't know. They're very underrated. Even if obviously everyone would like smack them if they were on themselves. They're like no. Specifically ants, not fire ants. Fire ants can go to hell.
Yes.
But wasps are very fun too. Not in real life again. You would not want them around. But in this movie, it's very cool.
And then I love the comedic use of the growing and shrinking. Like whenever the discs that they throw don't go the right way, and like something randomly gets really big or really small, I
Yeah.
almost always find that hilarious.
Hmm. But I also like when they use it well, and like I think it's the toy cars, that then they make it like a big car, which that's not how it works because it wouldn't have an engine. But anyways, I don't care. It looks cool, so I can suspend some belief there. That's more in the second one though. They do some fun stuff with shrinking and stuff in the second one, but
No, absolutely.
they introduce some fun
And then I
stuff here.
also really love with them shrinking, like the scenes that you have Ant-Man going through, like when he's walking through the model that's actively getting shot at.
Mhm.
I think that looks great when he like first shrinks and he's in the tub,
Mhm.
and then he's like small worlding through his apartment building.
Mhm.
I think that's so fun. And then like the last fight scene when they like start in like the briefcase,
Mhm.
and then it ends up like in, and then they go to his daughter's room and they're like throwing trains around.
Mhm.
I think that stuff is so fun.
I don't know what just made me think of this, but I feel like he actually kind of has a little bit of a Captain America-esque introduction in a way, some elements of it. Obviously, he's a criminal and not so much Captain America. But they are both at a place in life where they want to be somewhere else. And they're presented with an opportunity because of their character. Like Hank Pym wanted somebody to be Ant-Man. He's the one who found it, and I just think it's interesting. It's like there's some similar elements there of maybe that's purposeful. He's not a scientist, that he is like almost like an underdog in that way, like Captain America. Everyone underestimated him, and then he makes a great Captain America because of his personality. Because he, on the inside, despite outside things, he's a good person.
Yeah.
It's like, here, he may be a criminal, but on the inside, he has a good heart.
Yeah. Well,
So-
because he was Robin Hooding
Yeah.
is the crime, and
Yeah.
he stole from a company that was like robbing other people
Yeah.
legally.
Yeah. So it's like, but good person.
Yeah.
So, for sure.
Tuck Scott Lang, love the Pym particles, love the heist movie. I love like through the planning phase. I think they make that all still very fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love his friends are very funny. One
I
of
love
them.
the guy who, yeah, you could talk about. I think you're gonna probably mention him.
I love the two that will continue to be around,
Yeah.
hopefully, because one's like arrested for very good reason. The actor.
Right.
But thankfully I like the other two a lot more. They're a lot more vibrant. The Baba Yaga. And
Yeah. The guy
This-
who explains everything really
Louise.
fast.
Louise.
Yes.
Well, and it all started. What a fun little montage
It's
maker.
giving like there's like a like mini episodes on Disney Plus where Olaf is like explaining in very dramatic ways the plots of Disney movies, and it's giving that in the best way. I love that, and I love this.
Mhm.
So great here. And you have Polka Dot Man.
Yes, and Coconut Man. That was it.
David.
David Desmelchian.
Yes. Good job on that.
Yeah, he has
Wow.
such a fun filmography. Seeing him pop up places is always so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Heist. Hope. I want to talk on Hope. I think Wasp has never really landed the way that I think people maybe wished that she would.
She kind of reminds me a little bit of Captain Marvel in her first movie, where I feel like they kind of have similar personalities. I don't know. I still kind of like parts of the Captain Marvel movie. Don't get me wrong. I'm certainly not a hater of it like some other misogynistic people are. I critique like actual critiques of the movie. But I feel like they have pretty dry personalities, and unfortunately, I don't know. I wouldn't say Hope necessarily has a big ego here, at least not one that's unwarranted. I think she's very smart. But unlike some other, egotistical characters, they have like they're funny, or they kind of have like almost like a loser quality about them, which Ant-Man very much has here. I I don't know. She's not given a whole lot. I like the dynamic with her family.
Her and her father, I think, are most interesting in this first movie.
Yes.
And then I don't know, maybe that's not fair. I also love them in the second one as well, like finding their mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I don't know.
But you know what?
There's just not a lot to her.
It feels like
character.
she's not a character that could stand on her own personality-wise. And maybe that's the issue.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if you take any, like, Guardians character out on their own to do something, you could have a really fun time with it.
Even Drax later on. I think first movie I would be, interested with him. But yeah, any other character in the first movie I think could stand on their own very easily. Unlike her.
And I feel like she never really changed. Like, I feel like she's been fairly one note since the beginning, other than, like, doesn't like Scott Penn or Scott Lang.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're fine, and then they're fine. There's a budding romance or whatever, and then that's the note that they have the rest of the movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Evangeline Lilly has also come out and said that she's never really known what to do with that character. I think ultimately, it's the fault of the script not really knowing what to do with her either, other than to have her there and do fun action.
Yeah. That's kind of disappointing, though. I feel like there's plenty of actors out there who would have ideas and maybe push them. I mean, I don't know if, maybe she has tried before and just gotten shut down. I don't know. So I don't have the full picture, so I'm not going to, judge as if I do. But it would be nice if maybe we at least heard that she had ideas and was actively fighting for them.
And Wasp in other mediums that I've seen her in, she's not used a ton, but... I think because Janet Van Dyne is typically who plays the Wasp in a lot of things, and she's typically very, buzzy. She's almost like, I don't know if a teenager is the right quality, but, she's a fashion designer who is, super buzzy and kind of, has, a gossipy vibe about her. So she's, really fun in other places, and then to have this movie kind of set up Wasp to be a very... obviously a whole different character, and then not to have a personality to kind of back that up, at least definitely not in the long run.
Yeah.
I think arguably in the first movie as well. I think it's just a bummer.
Yeah, I agree. Because I think there's potential there that, at least with Captain Marvel by now, she's gotten more to her character, but Wasp has never really gone on. Although she hasn't gotten to films where she's the lead, so she hasn't gotten as much time either, so there's something to be said about that.
Absolutely. And then the fight scene with Falcon I think is so fun. I think that's a great way to tie him into Civil War. I think it takes like the perfect amount of time out of the thing. It makes sense that they need something that was taken by S.H.I.E.L.D. and that place ended up going to the Avengers. And I think he's a really fun comedic actor to bounce off of Paul Rudd. Yes. Even if he's playing a more serious character. Oh, I think that scene is just so fun. Cap can never know about this.
Yeah. It's very funny. They have a good dynamic.
And then the Falcon versus the Ant. Love that whole just on paper. I think that's so fun.
Is Ant-Man supposed to be a part of his Avengers team? Do we know?
Ant-Man has been on the Avengers team. The Avengers has
for Doomsday, Sam's team.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. That's I was gonna say I
who's currently on that team? It's Cap, Joaquin, Ant-Man, Shang-Chi, Shuri. Although now Wakanda's on their own thing, so maybe not even that.
I don't know.
Well, but she's not
from the
queen of. I haven't seen that out.
Okay,
I've seen that it's out, but I haven't seen
it.
But also Shuri isn't their their leader anymore.
It's true.
So she doesn't need to stay with them.
True.
And then there was one more because there was 6. Forget who the last one is. But he has 6.
Okay.
I think it's very interesting. Darren Cross and the / Yellow Jacket. In the comics, Yellow Jacket is Hank Pym from the future turned evil. And they're clearly trying to do something similar to that with his whole, I see too much of myself in you. It's like, this guy's a sociopath, Hank. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
We see this man killing hundreds of sheep babies. Hank, if you see this in yourself,
Yeah.
you gotta get some help, man.
Yeah, you gotta get some help. Yeah, I don't know. Yellow Jacket's interesting, I guess.
He's very...
I like his design.
Oh, the suit is awesome.
Yeah.
The suit, I think, is so fun, and it's used really well. The character of Darren,
I didn't know that was his name.
Darren.
On here it looks like it says Frank. Frank.
what?
I don't know. That's what Wikipedia says.
It is Darren Cross.
Cool.
But because he's trying to change into Cross Industries, or whatever. But he's a character that I think comes off as feeling like he has a lot of personality, but he doesn't really.
No.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate.
He's just kind of like an annoying evil villain. Like, I don't really care to see all that much until you suit up, and then it's like, oh, well, at least that's cool.
Yeah. And then, we see what happens in Quantumania.
No, he sure is Darren Cross. Wikipedia would be wrong. It literally says Frank. Like, nothing else. No last name, no, like, Yellow Jacket.
Great.
Like, it says Frank. And I'm like, because I didn't remember that being his name either. Wikipedia is crazy.
But then Darren Cross goes on to be MODOK. Remember that?
Unfortunately, I
Whew. And what a choice that ended up
do.
being.
Yep.
Very, very crazy. At least in this first one, I think the fight scene really saves that character.
Yeah.
'Cause, oh my god, it's so cool.
You are not a dick. Isn't that what they say?
Yes.
Oh my god, I'm not looking forward to talking about that movie.
And then at the end, and then Ant-Man kind of mass shrinking down into the quantum realm and getting lost for a hot second, and then you can even see Janet as he's like shrinking, which I think is a really cool detail. Like when he's like, it's like flashing a lot, and you can like see her reflecting in his helmet.
Oh.
Great little detail. Yeah, I love the quietness of it when he's like lost in the void. Oh, I love that a lot.
Sure.
And then he comes back in a very dramatic moment, and then all is well. And that's fine. I think that's very of this movie.
Sure.
It certainly works better here than in Quantumania.
Yep.
So I think that's everything to be said on that movie as well. Whew. So overall, I think great highs, solid middles, low lows.
Yeah. We have 2 more rankings, but do you want to just kind of like quickly go through
quickly
them?
go through them.
Okay.
So, and I'll start on this one.
Okay.
Quickly just ranking the new heroes introduced in this phase. So we counted 11. So starting at the bottom and going up, I have Wasp, who, like I said, I don't think ever really landed.
No.
Then Drax, I think he grows a lot better, but I think he had a fairly weak introduction, especially for his movie. Then I have Quicksilver, very charming. I understand why he didn't stick around. Gamora, I think some people argue that she never felt like the deadliest woman in the galaxy. I can see where that's coming from. And I see like glimpses of it. But I think she's still very fun. Then I have Ant-Man. So funny. So fun. Great visuals about him. Star-Lord, Falcon, Groot, Rocket, Vision, Wanda.
All right. I start a similar list with Wasp, Drax, and Quicksilver.
Okay.
Very similar thoughts. I have Star-Lord next.
Okay.
I think he grows on me, but just specifically in this movie, I think this is where I would put him. Ant-Man, he has an interesting path. But I like him in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Vision, I think he also grows on me, but he is pretty solid, so he's pretty much in the middle of this list. He's got some great lines. Gamora, I have her next. I've always really liked her. Her character designs do a lot for me. Even when the story is failing, I love when characters just look cool. Speaking of Groot, that's who I have next. And then I have Falcon. And then I have Rocket and Wanda.
Per?
So, yeah. I've always really liked Rocket. I think he's very funny. Falcon's been very fun. Maybe he's a little high for the amount of stuff he gets to do here, but maybe I'm a little biased because I am kind of thinking of other projects. But anyways.
No, that's totally valid. And then our last one, we are going to rank the villains. I have listed 9 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So my order, I have Malekith, bad adaptation, not interesting, and then I think visually there's not much there either. It's just such a nothing role. Then I have Curse. At least he does some cool things in that movie. Then I have Yellow Jacket, bad character, awesome design.
Yeah.
And great use of like him in fighting.
Yes.
Then I have Aldrich Killian. I think he's a decent foil to Tony. And then like I think the visuals of him are interesting, of like the fire abilities or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have Ronan. He serves his purpose. He has his hammer. He's a bad dude. He's a rude dude.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have Alexander Pierce at number 4. Number 3, I have Nebula. She was not as iconic. She becomes way more iconic in the second one.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a great introduction for her.
Yeah.
She's scary in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And number 2, I have Ultron King. Ugh, cannot wait for you to return. And then at number 1, I have the Winter Soldier. And I would be surprised if that is also not your number 1.
No, the top 3 are the same on my list.
Okay.
So I have Curse, just because I don't remember him. Maybe if I rewatch, you kind of hyped me up for him, so I'm like, okay, upon rewatch, maybe. But I don't, just I don't remember him right now, so he's at my bottom, and my stomach is going crazy right now. I need to eat something. Anyways, then I have Malekith, just solely because I did remember him. Not much else. Then I have Killian. I thought he was fine. Whatever. Then Ronan. I also thought he was fine, but I liked his character design much more. I think his look is really cool.
The hammer, I
the
think, is
hammer
sick.
very cool. Then I have Yellow Jacket, just because I really like his suit and the fight scene is fun. Alexander Pierce. Obviously, just his character, I think, is well done. Scary. Then I have Nebula, Ultron, and Winter Soldier.
Ah.
Yeah.
A lot of mechanical pieces in those top 3.
No, actually.
No. Oh, and did you ever hear about the thing about Phase 2 movies where supposedly every movie there's a character who loses an arm?
That's kind of crazy.
So that would be, looking at the list, obviously there's Bucky for Winter Soldier.
Yes.
In Iron Man 3, Tony cuts off Killian's arm in like the final fight. Thor: The Dark World. What is it? Oh, he cuts off Malekith's arm.
Okay.
In like the last thing when he's like throwing the things at him.
Mm-hmm.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Gamora cuts off Groot's arms.
Mm-hmm.
Avengers: Age of Ultron, he cuts off Claw's arm. Ultron does. And
Ant-Man?
then Ant-Man, I think people say that as Yellow Jacket is like shrinking and like being morphed up, his arm goes first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people are counting for that. And frankly, sure.
Sure, it's close enough, I think, to continue the trend there. So, an interesting group of movies here.
Yeah.
Not totally great, but you have.
But
some
you know
great
what I
ones
do
on
like about
here.
them? I love that they all feel very different.
So different, yeah.
And I think ultimately I don't know. I feel like that's what you want to go for when you have a franchise of franchises.
Mm-hmm.
So
And there's, 3 really good introduction. Well, I guess 2 really good introduction movies here. Winter Soldier is a great sequel. Age of Ultron is a fun sequel.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Ant-Man and Guardians.
Introducing
I think are
Ant-Man
good
and Guardians.
foundations.
I agree.
Mhm.
I think Guardians is a phenomenal starting point for that trilogy.
Yeah.
And then Ant-Man, I think that's a great little debut film.
Mm-hmm. And then maybe Thor and Iron Man, not so much, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Thor gets better, and then Iron Man.
It definitely
has some
didn't
big moments
prevent
too.
people
So.
from being excited to see these characters again.
Yeah, that's true. So
Yeah, well, I think that is going to wrap up our conversation on the MCU Phase 2. What are your favorite movies and characters from Phase 2? Let us know in the comments below. If you've made it this far in, please feel free to leave a like if you've enjoyed us. We'd greatly appreciate that. And until next time, I'm your host, Luke.
And I'm your host, Alicia.
And thank you so much for watching Not So Straight Nerds.